notes. Where is he at? I don't know why he's always got to do this to me. Sorry, friends and fiends. Let me see if I can summon him. Oh, again. Sorry for the delay. All right. Here we go. Oh, sorry. That was wrong person. Let me try it again, okay? Okay. That didn't work. Let me try something else. Sorry, friends and fiends. Let's see if we summon him 3 times if he'll show up. Let's do Mad Matt. That's 1. Mad Matt. That's 2. 3rd time should be the charm. Mad Matt. There you are. I knew that would work again. What are you doing?
Oh no. You know what that means?
What?
It's showtime.
Oh, jeez.
It's alive. Oh, it's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. Oh, in the name of God. Now I know what it feels like to be God.
Hello, friends and fiends. Welcome back to another Blood and Guts Creature Feature. And with me, as always, is the ghost with the most, Mad Matt. How are you doing, Mad Matt?
I'm feeling amazing today, Evil Ab. You know why?
Why is that?
We're going to talk about one of the great 80s classics of all time. One that like everybody young and old can get into. The one that still has a great cult following. And that is the great Beetlejuice.
That's right, Beetlejuice. And this is what I consider Tim Burton's heyday.
Yes.
This with Ed Wood, Scissorhands, Beetlejuice,
Pee-wee.
Frank and Weenie, the original, where he's still using that classic animation style.
Yeah.
He's using those structural styles. He's not got that studio interference yet.
Right.
As say like not using all that CGI. Let's go there.
Right.
But yeah, this is a classic. I remember seeing this as a kid, loving every bit of it.
Oh, me too.
So
In doing my research, talking about piggybacking, talking about Tim Burton, this is a movie that was originally Wes Craven was attached. In my research, I don't know. I guess it was creative differences. At some point, he was off the movie, and Warner Brothers with him, Tim Burton had the big success with Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
Yep.
Like we'll give it to Tim Burton because at the time Burton was wanting to do Batman, and then they said this is kind of like show me what you can do type of picture. If you do good with this, we'll give you Batman.
yeah,
And so, like you said, Tim Burton does a great job. He brings his own style. Like, you're talking about, he throws a lot of German expressionism in there, has all the slants and all that good stuff.
yeah, the angles in the buildings, the hallways, the look,
Mm-hmm.
the look of the film, the claymation. I love it, and for the same reason I love Ed Wood and those kind of films is because, this was before he was like, we'll just throw it to CGI,
Right.
and you got your iconic cast in this. Let's break down a little bit of this cast right here. We got the legendary Alec Baldwin,
Yep.
Gina Davis.
Yep.
What
We got Jeffrey Jones that plays Charles Dietz. Like I said, I know
Yep.
he's had a lot of legal troubles past few years, so you don't really see a lot of him anymore. But the great Catherine O'Hara,
Catherine O'Hara's great in
SCTV, Home Alone.
Oh yeah.
Winona Ryder of Stranger Things fame. This is like, this is
Yeah.
kind of the movie that put her on the map.
Yep.
Then you got Sylvia Sidney, who plays Juno, the caseworker.
Right.
And she done a great job in Mars Attacks, and she had a great career back in the golden age of Hollywood.
That's right. And let's not forget about Robert Goulet.
Plays Maxie Dean. Then you got Glenn Shaddix, who plays Otho, and he also has a good part as the mayor in Nightmare Before Christmas, so a lot of kids may know him from that.
Yep.
And then the one, the only, the
legend.
legendary Michael Keaton.
Keaton. Oh man, this is great. And and I'd heard that he had his hand in the makeup effects, kind of like the design. He had his hand in the wardrobe design, to where he told him, I want this wardrobe to be different eras of costume.
Yeah.
So that way they kind of don't know what era Beetlejuice is from, which leads us into that whole bit of, you know, I think it's great that you don't really know his backstory.
Right.
You don't really know where he's coming from.
And to piggyback off that, what's great about that too is he originally turned down the part because he said Tim Burton really did not have a good way of explaining what was going on with the character.
Right.
So when he left that first meeting, he said he literally had no idea what this character was going to be about. So and Burton really originally didn't want him. The studio is actually the one that first suggested him. He actually didn't know who Michael Keaton was, but after he met him that first time, he could see the potential in there. And so when he went to meet him the second time, it's kind of, he broke down everything you just said. It's from different eras. You can kind of do your own thing. You can do your makeup the way you want to do it.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, Michael Keaton had a heavy hand in a lot of things with that character, and was allowed to do like ad-libbing. We were talking about that too in a lot of his scenes.
Yeah,
and stuff, too.
yeah. And I don't remember the number, Friends and Fiends, but it was something like 75, 80%, maybe even more, was ad-libbed by Michael Keaton. So a lot of those iconic lines that you get, like the nice model and all the stuff, you know, were in reaction to scenes that stayed in the cut.
He didn't expect that tree to fall. So it was him just reacting to it.
And so that's just great stuff right there.
Yeah, and kind of talking about the character of Beetlejuice originally, at some point, I don't know if it was the studio or if it was Burton himself, but I know Sammy Davis Jr.'s name comes up a lot as part of the part.
Yeah.
And the script evolved because as it went from like Sammy Davis Jr. to an Arabian man, and also like just to have Beetlejuice be a winged demon. Back when this script was a little bit darker, they wanted to be more of a demon, like instead of just exorcising the humans out of the house, he was actually trying to kill them and have a body count. So
Yeah.
I don't know if this was back when Wes Craven was attached and then Tim Burton come in and lighten the tone a little bit. But we definitely got a different movie than how it started.
Oh, it would have been completely crazy with Wes Craven. I mean,
Yeah.
probably a lot more dark.
A lot more blood.
And wouldn't have led to the significance that it led to. I mean, we're talking about toys.
Yeah.
We're talking about, what was it, Kenner that did
Yep.
the toys? It was Kenner and I remember having classic. And I remember as a child having the Cadillac. I remember having the grave.
Yeah.
And what was it? The grave, you would switch the
you had the
flag,
sign. Yeah,
the sign.
yeah.
The Here Lies Beetlejuice sign. You'd switch it, and he would disappear and turn into a smaller version, or you could just leave him out together. He would disappear.
Right.
You had the head shrinker,
Yep.
who had the normal head, and take it off, and the tiny head would spin around. You'd push
Yep.
the little liver on the back, kind of thing.
He had the one where he's in a striped suit and he has the head where it has like the carousel around it too. I had
Yep.
that one. That was
There
awesome.
was also another one that had the swords from the Dante's Inferno scene, which is one of
Yeah.
my favorite scenes, and you could take those in or out, you know, of the Beetlejuice.
And I had
action
one too
figure.
where he was in the groom's outfit and he could pull his head off and he has the tiny head that he
Yes.
gets the end one. That was
Yes.
a really good one.
And this led, of course, to the cartoon,
Yep.
which kind of like brought it more to children, which also played on the marketing of the toys.
Yes.
But you know, overall, it was a good cartoon because I remember the cartoon also had images of, like, I won't call it CGI, but you know, those digital images
Yeah.
of the sandworms and the creepy faces with the spirals and things like that.
And that's kind of too when they flip to where Beetlejuice and Lydia are like, you know, they're best friends and Beetlejuice is the hero. So
Yeah.
like I said, if you're an 80s baby or even a 90s baby and you grew up with that cartoon, like, you know, you're not really used to seeing him as kind of like a mischievous demon.
Yeah. And a question that I have for you that I want to throw out to you is, with the iconic scenes in the movie, if you had to pick a scene to describe to the audience, to get them to watch this film, what would be a heavy hitter scene for you?
I'm going to give you two because
give me
there's
two.
two I
Go
love.
ahead and-
First one I love is whenever Lydia is trying to get upstairs into the attic and the Maitlands are doing their best to keep her out. But then also you see throughout the movie just little things happen, like, you know, a car drops with Beetlejuice's name, but they're mispronouncing his name. But then this time the TV pops up.
Yep.
And he does his little commercial. He does like the country cowboy and does his song
Yep.
and dance. Like I said, that's just a fantastic way when you first see the character
We
on
got
screen.
all kind of critters for him to play with. Yeah, come on down.
He goes, "Did you own a dog?"
You want to know? Oh yeah.
But I love that. And then the next one is the climax whenever you have the wedding clothes and the Maitlands coming up when Otho's reading from the book.
Yes.
And
yes,
then,
I love it. I love
Just
it.
so much going on.
One of
Like,
my
you know,
favorites.
Adam gets put back into the model. Beetlejuice is trying to marry Lydia. Barbara's coming out trying to conjure him back to his world. Just so much going on. You got the priest, like the great makeup on him, the costumes, and just all the stop motion going on with the statues
Yep.
and all that good stuff. Just a lot going on there. That's just like you're talking about how today they would just try to CGI everything, but they did everything they could to keep practical effects in there, and it's helped that movie age like fine wine.
Yeah, and
So, how about you? Tell me a scene you would point out.
I love. I mean, hands down, there's so many scenes I could go on all night. Off the top of my head, I love the scene where he's putting his hand through his face. You know, he's doing all that. She's got his severed head. They're trying to scare him, but they realize they can't see them.
Right.
You know, so she's holding his severed head. You know, all that stuff. But I really love the scene too with the Dante's Inferno.
Yeah.
He's got the spike sticking at him because he just dropped.
Uh-huh.
You know, he just poked him in the hand. Oh, he drops him, and you know, he sees the women. Oh, hey baby, I'm coming to get you. You know, but he's wearing a cabbie, and this goes back to Michael Keaton wanting that wardrobe to be so crazy that you can't really determine which era of time Beetlejuice is from. So he's
Right.
wearing a cabbie hat and like a detective duster coat almost, like a western shirt and some pants. You know, it's like you can't really tell what
A hodgepodge of
a
everything.
hodgepodge, which is good to keep the Beetlejuice's backstory more mystery, more ambiguous, to where you don't know which era he's coming from in time. And I dug that. And as a kid watching this too, the soundtrack was one of the biggest things.
Yeah.
With Danny Elfman's soundtrack was one of the biggest things that got me
Yeah.
hooked into this film.
Now, like I said, I'm glad you mentioned Danny Elfman because that's the soul of the movie. Like that's the first time. Like I know he scored Pee Wee's Big Adventure as well.
Yes.
But like this is the first movie where like it really stood out to me. And then I can watch movies that he scored and I can just hear little beats. I'm like, Danny Elfman's done
Danny
this movie.
Elfman's been here.
And so
Exactly.
you think about all the other iconic movies he's done, like, you know, one comes to mind is the Batman March. Like I said, that just gets you pumped up when you watch that movie, but that's a story for a different day. One of the other tidbits I found out about this movie, though, as far as the development goes, there was originally a sister named Kathy Dietz, which is actually more of like what Lydia ended up being. She actually had where she could see the deceased, she could understand, see the handbook, and Lydia was more like a normal child.
Yeah.
And so it was amazing how, I don't know like why they decided to combine the characters and just go with one, but cut them. But it worked out well because Winona Ryder just totally knocked it out of the park as
Oh
that
yeah.
gothic child.
Totally did it. And that scenes where you have that model. I mean, just everything down to the model they have
Yes.
in the attic, and the key popping out of the little keyhole.
Right.
Trying to keep them out of the attic. You know, and there's just such a
And what about sandworms?
the sandworms.
You hate
the,
'em, right?
The snake. Oh, you gotta hate them. I hate them. You hate them. But you know, the snake when she's running her hand over the rail of the stairs,
Yep.
and it turns into the snake. It's got the scales on it. All of a sudden, it's
Yeah.
the claymation. It's got the Beetlejuice face, you know, and you see the shadow on the wall actually with the rattlesnake tail.
Yeah.
Kind of pop up. That was so awesome.
Yep.
And you know, harkening back to the HHN house.
Yeah.
With that, you know, we had some good scenes in there, like the whole dinner party scene. The room is upside down, and it's playing the Banana Boat song, and you're going through. That was a great scene for us HHN lovers out there.
And like kind of going back to what you're talking about, it's amazing because I can't remember what song they originally wanted to go with. I know we were talking about this.
It was an
earlier.
Ink Spots
Yeah.
tune, so that
And-
would have been an old jazz tune like you hear in the beginning of Shawshank Redemption.
Right. And like Dick Cavett, the one he was
Yes.
the one side he wanted.
He's a bit more like a calypso song.
Yeah.
You know, more of a dancey kind of Caribbean number.
and man, he
So-
he done a great job in suggesting that because that made that scene stand out that much more.
Oh yeah.
So, with this one, like I said, the movie itself was fantastic and obviously very successful. Like it was made on a $15 million budget, ended up making close to $75 million.
Yep.
So it's been a cult classic. You see it on every Halloween. So
Then it evolved into toys and cartoons,
video
and
games,
shirts, hats, video games,
HHN houses,
HHN
the
houses,
Graveyard Review at Universal.
Exactly.
And,
And Beetlejuice is still there to this day
It is.
at Universal.
But like for 30 years, because ever since the 90s, they've been trying to get a sequel off the ground. Like I know the great Kevin Smith, he was offered a chance to look at two scripts, Superman or Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian. So that was as far back as in the 90s when that happened. And luckily we dodged that bullet.
Yeah.
But now in September of this year, Tim Burton's coming back, and we're getting Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
So I have to ask Adam, after kind of seeing the synopsis where Beetlejuice is trying to avoid his wife in the afterlife by having to marry someone on the other side to try to get away. So
I like that plot.
yeah, and we know Winona Ryder's coming back, Jenny Ortega's cast. I think she's a wonderful casting. So
Yes.
are you excited about this one coming out?
I am. I am excited to see what happens with. I would love to see a trailer. First off, I feel like I don't want it to fall under the realm of it's been too long. Such as you got some films like Coming to America,
Right.
the second Coming to America,
Dumb and Dumber 2.
Dumb and Dumber 2, like where it's just been a little too long. Where that spice, hell, even Ghostbusters 2. That wasn't as long, but of course,
I'll
but
disagree with you on that one.
but even that little spice of did we miss the mark? But as long as they stick to practical effects and Tim Burton can go back to his old ways
Yeah.
and do his own thing, get the Danny Elfman score, I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, one key ingredient is like with this one, Beetlejuice has very limited screen time.
So about 15 minutes.
Right, it's enough to
total.
leave you where you're wanting more.
Yeah.
So with this sequel, I'm kind of hoping they kind of keep where they don't have him out front and center. He does not
Oh
need
yes,
to be
no,
like
no.
the main
No,
character.
he does not need to be in this film for the whole hour and 32 hours or whatever,
Right.
however long it is. No, he needs to be, because less is more.
Right.
And like, same with the claymations, and stuff like that. That's why it's so believable. In the first,
Right.
film, of course, especially when you got that one that looks like the scorpion, it's kind of like
Yeah.
crawling along with the big block tail, and it wraps up around Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah.
It kind of takes her back like this. That's why it's so believable. It's because less is more.
It is, and like I said, he wanted to do it. He wanted to almost look like it was made back in the 50s or 60s at that time, because the studio was actually wanting to give it to like Industrial Light and Magic to have them touch
Yeah,
up things,
no,
and
no,
he didn't want. He wanted to keep it like in camera, avoid digital shots like you were talking
Exactly.
about, and it paid off because I can't remember if they won an Oscar. I know it got nominated for an Oscar, but I think they won. Like, let me in the comments if I'm wrong if they didn't win, but if they did win. Kudos to Burton for sticking to his guns on that because it paid off.
Well, Burton in general is, before he was a filmmaker, was an artist.
Yeah.
And is an artist. Illustrations, stop frame animations, that type of thing. So, go back to your roots. And I'm kind of just preaching here, but go back to your roots.
Yeah.
And try to keep the studio interference to a minimum. I know that's hard.
Yeah.
But then you could turn out a good film here. Don't just slap Michael Keaton in, and you go back to other films like the Jurassic series, where you go, we're going to have Sam Neill back. We're going to have Jeff Goldblum back, the great Jeff Goldblum, so-and-so, and then they're in it for 5 seconds.
Right.
Don't do that. Give us a solid film, and it will do well.
Yep. So that's about all we have this evening, friends and fiends. How do you feel about Beetlejuice? Let us know in the comments. Do you love it? Do you think it's overrated? If you think it's overrated, I'd love to hear why, because it's one of my favorite movies growing up, and like I said, I still watch this one every year.
Oh yeah, I could watch this one multiple times a year. It's a classic from my childhood that I remember.
And it's good gateway horror.
It's a good gateway horror for younger kids, teens, and it just from that opening soundtrack with that distorted banana boat, and that distorted, because what they
bass
do,
going
they
in there.
distort that banana boat song in that intro, and then they have just a little bit of that Danny Elfman piano score going. It's good, and that as soon as I hear that come on, I'm taken back to my youth.
Yep.
But yeah, friends and fiends, let us know what you think, and in the comments below, share this with your friends, family, loved ones. Share it with Otho.
Yeah.
Share it with Maxie Dean coming over tonight. And as always, remember.
I'll possess myself if I gotta. Wow. Yo, I got demons running all through me. All through me.